Hello, welcome to Soundbites. I'm your host, Holly Whitfield. I'm here today with the co-founders of Wiseacre Brewing, Davin and Kellan Bartosch. We are at their headquarters, downtown Memphis. Hello, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hello. We're welcome to be here.
Thank you. If you don't know, Soundbites is the Daily Memphians food, drink, and dining podcast. You can listen every Thursday at 11 a.m. on WYXR, or you can catch it at dailymemphian.com. There's a story that comes up every week to go along with the podcast, or you can get it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever the kids are listening these days on the app. We have so much to talk about with Davin and Kellan today, so I'm going to jump right on into that. I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about why you decided to open a brewery and your whole entire background, but let's get the people up to speed a little bit. You first opened Wiseacre OG, which is on Broad Avenue, in 2013. What led up to that? What all went into that? It can be like an elevator pitch version, because I know there was a ton of work.
No, I was going to say, Davin was born in 1979. He's my older brother. He was really into cooking when he was young, which I think is important. And he was good at chess and racquetball. And it was like all these things you could do by yourself, making robots and stuff, because he was on some robot team at one point. So that all, to me, seems really natural that he got interested in brewing, because he could do it by himself and he could get really good at it. Mm-hmm. And so when he got interested in brewing after college, or he started homebrewing in college, but kind of, you're after school, you're like, what am I going to do? There's a name for that stage of life. But yeah. Anyway, I was like, you should become a brewer. And then I was like, knowing he was going to be great at it, I was like, we should open a brewery together. And so we decided we were going to do that. We ate lunch at Soulfish with our dad, shook hands, and he was like, let's do this together. And he went off to brewing school in Chicago and brewing school in Germany, brewed beer in Chicago. I went and worked for a beer distributor in Nashville, went to grad school at Belmont at night, worked on our business plan, then got a job with Sierra Nevada out west doing sales. And
Sierra Nevada,
moved back to Memphis. Mm-hmm. That's the short of it.
That's great. You're a pro at that. Anything to add, David?
No, that's exactly right.
Exactly right. He didn't lie about any of it. Okay, so you opened in 2013. Are you the first brewery to open in Memphis aside from the Bosco's folks?
We're Memphis's third craft brewery.
Okay.
We're very proud of it.
Okay.
We considered a billboard.
We were going to put it on the billboard. Memphis third craft brewery.
Bosco's, Ghost River. And then there was all at the same time, really. It was like a tie for third. It was us and
High Cotton opened before us.
High Cotton and Memphis Made.
Oh.
But we were the first tap room. And then we were the first brewery in the state to can beer as well.
Yes. Okay. That's impressive. I remember a friend way back, even probably like 2010 or 11, and he was telling me, he's like, I went to somewhere in Colorado, and there's this place where they brew the beer there, and then you can also drink it while you're there, and they have like snacks and stuff. And I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. It feels like ancient history, but I mean, that's what you created on Broad. What are some of your memories or highlights of things that happen at the taproom, events that happen in those first 5 or 6 years? Something that
the first thing that comes to my mind is we started off with just Tiny Bomb and Ananda, so we just had a Pilsner and an IPA. And it's really funny because now you go to our tap rooms and there's at the downtown one, there's 24 beers on tap or something. So there's a ton of variety. We're always making new stuff, but back then we just had the 2 beers. And we would occasionally get another beer out, but we were just really strapped trying to keep up with demand. And we made the first time we made a Belgian strong golden ale called a Zazel, and we loved it. We thought it was delicious. We didn't have any real equipment to test for ABV, so we made what we thought was an 8 or 9% alcohol beer. And we used to send them off to a laboratory to get tested. Well, we had this tapping party, and the tapping party was completely insane. We had a disco ball going, and everyone was dancing, freaking on the dance floor. Mm-hmm. There was almost a fist fight. Oh, yeah. There was some love in our bathroom.
Oh, good.
And at the end of the night, Kellan and I were cleaning up, and we were like, what in the world happened? Why did it go so buck wild tonight? And then we got the test back from the laboratory like a week later or something, and the beer was like 13.5% alcohol. So like basically everyone was just like chugging wine at our tap room.
At like 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday.
So it just led to a lot of insanity, and that night was forever referred to as Club Wiseacre. So
I feel like I've heard about this.
We don't have that
now that you say
experience
that.
anymore these days, but it was hilarious back then.
You never know. You never know what could happen.
You never know. I feel like most of our crowd is like a little bit more tame than they were, because it was me, except I was 30, so I was Looney Tunes.
Yes.
I remember just a lot of late nights, and I don't think, it will never, like the physical work will never be as hard because we were doing everything, and then we'd be behind the bar in the tap room, and then we would go back to like kegging beer until like 2 a.m. And then, the next day I might be invoicing distributors and loading a truck and then going out to sell and then coming back and helping with packaging or running the tap room or whatever again. But like things will never be as simple, as they were then either. So, I mean, something goes wrong. We were sleeping on bags of grain, trying to get it fixed, which Davin was usually the one doing that. But it was exhausting, but it was really fun too.
You're talking about the taps and how you start out with 2 taps and you have so many now. So we have to clear the air because in 2013, that when y'all opened, I wrote a story about it for I Love Memphis, and it was my first story that I wrote for the I Love Memphis blog. I co-wrote it with the first blogger, Carrie Crawford, and this was like a weird part of my training, which my training for that job was like one day. It was like, Holly and Carrie are going to go have a beer at Wiseacre, and then they're going to write a post about it, and then good luck with this blog. So I just went in and I just wrote what I observed, and I didn't really have a lot of direction. I remember being like, they have all these taps, and there's all these colorful acorns, and it looks like I really want to try them all, but they only have 2. And I wasn't meaning anything by that, but I feel like, Kellan, later we had some sort of like in-passing conversation where you were like, hey man, like we're doing our best. And I'm like, no, I know. I didn't mean it to be anything like that. And I just think that's a funny kind of moment in time where like, I was just trying to do my best and write about what I saw. And you guys were just trying to do your best and get started. But it's funny that happened at the same time. I don't know if you remember that.
I've been mad at you ever since.
Yeah, I know, you hate my guts. This is super awkward.
The only thing I remember about it is because there's a lot of people that I feel like had the same impression, but it takes time to make.
We just didn't know how it was going to be.
And it takes like 3 weeks or so to make beer on average. And so we had to like build up to it, but we were so ready to get the tap room open that, we had those 2 beers ready. Yeah. And I think we kind of rushed the Ananda a little bit, like on the first.
We rushed the Tiny Bomb. Yeah.
I knew we rushed one of them to kind of get it ready because we're like, we got to open because, you're a first time we're business owners, whatever, and we spent all this money. We hadn't made any money. Like it took a year to really build the brewery and get all that. So anyway, we're like, we got to open the tap room now. And that's all that we had. And then, if you look back, by October, we had like 5 beers on draft and whatever,
That's just a funny moment I think about. And then later we had the 5th birthday party for I Love Memphis blog at the Wiseacre, which I remember that as being one of like the best days. It was super fun, and we had like
balloons.
Yeah, we had balloons, and we had a big cake, and we had, whatever nonsense. Okay, so that was great.
Which now balloons are not allowed in our tap room.
What'd you do?
Because we have 40-foot ceilings here, and people bring balloons in, and then they all end up on our ceiling, and we can't get them down.
They just are there forever. I don't know. You could like do like a Huey's thing where you just have like weird old balloons on your ceiling.
Yeah, you can. I think balloons are still okay on Broad, but no balloons downtown.
Got it. Don't bring your balloons.
That's the headline.
That's the headline. Wiseacre hates balloons. Okay, we're gonna talk about a lot of things, but let's talk about the food, because I know that you did beer. You did all this beer, and you had food trucks coming, but then Little Betty happened, and people love the pizza that you have downtown. Why did you decide to do that instead of sticking with the food trucks?
We love food trucks, but food trucks are not always reliable. They break down. If it rains, they don't show up. We it became a problem for us to because we couldn't serve food all the time. So we had to figure out how can we make sure that we always have food. And I think there's some reason. I love the variety aspect of food trucks, but it's also it's good to just know you can go there and the thing that you want is there.
Yes.
So I think through all that, we kind of decided that we want to do that. We had a lot of different kind of ideas about what kind of food we wanted to serve here, but eventually just settled on pizza because it's something that goes with beer and that people like a lot. It's
but you chose to do a different style.
Yeah.
It's the New Haven style. If people don't know, what is that?
Yeah, so New Haven pizza is it's gaining popularity a little bit, but they're traditionally very thin pizzas, so kind of like a similar dough to New York style, but a thinner pizza. They're made in coal-fired ovens, and there's always some charring. We have a lot of people that come in here and they're like, "Oh, this pizza's burnt," and I'm like, "That is not burned. That is what it's supposed to look like and taste like." And if you don't have that char, you're missing something in the pizza. It's supposed to be crispy on the bottom. It should ideally it's crispy on the bottom and the top layer of it is soft. So you don't want a lot of flop. I hate floppy pizza. I have a big problem.
You're
with
not a
pizza.
New York style guy. No. You're not
Yeah.
folding that slice.
Really, I like all pizza, but I really like the crispiness. I like the textural differences, and the char is so important, I think.
So before we started rolling, Kellan was kind of doing the rundown of the menu. You have 5 pizzas that are always on, and then a couple of rotating. What's your favorite?
I really love just our cheese pizza because you really get to taste how good just the ingredients are. It's the person who will not be named who does the one bite pizza things. It is. It does get to the essence of it, right? And I don't know if it's the same thing as beer, but we feel like making lager or something simple is hard. It's really hard to do well.
Yes.
So if you go to a brewery and they can make a really good light lagers especially, then you're like, all right, then I know they can do other stuff. But they're like, we make the crazy beer really well. And you're like, are we sure you can make great beer? If you can have a great cheese pizza, you can probably have some other great pizzas too. So I love our cheese pizza.
A classic done well. Seems to be kind of what you guys are into.
I think so.
At least partially. But it's interesting because then you also have, I'm looking at, and we're in your office, I'm looking at all these fun posters and these crazy art, and you've got a beer called Unicornucopia, so it's kind of why not both? Two things can be true, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite pizza flavor of Lil Buddies?
It depends on whether I'm feeling the excess or if I want, because I really like just our tomato pie, which is a very traditional New Haven style pizza, but the crust always turns out superb on the tomato pie because there's no cheese on it when it bakes, which when you put cheese on it, it traps moisture between the cheese and the bottom of the pie, so you end up with a less crispy crust. If you just put tomato sauce on it and bake it, you end up with very crispy crust, which I think is the most delicious. And I love pecorino. That kind of sheep's milk funk is really good on a pizza. And if I'm feeling excess, I do the skinny Chicago, which is basically it's the ingredients that normally go in deep dish Chicago pizza, but I'll put into a New Haven style pizza. So sauce is the last thing. So sauce is on top.
Yes.
But sausage, mushroom, it's good. It's my favorite.
Do you like regular deep dish?
I do like regular deep dish, but I lived in Chicago for a long time.
That's why I asked you, because it can be polarizing.
Yeah. We talked about New York style earlier too, but I like all pizza. I'm not going to
You're a human being.
I'm not going to hate on any pizza style. But yeah.
I like lasagna, which is to me what deep dish kind of is. You're like, what is?
It's a casserole, man. I know. For years, people would be like, where can I get a deep dish in Memphis? I need it so bad. I need a deep dish so bad. And then I never understood that. Now, Rotolo's, that is now open in Memphis to provide people with that great need. It's pretty good though.
There's some place in Bartlett that apparently is doing deep dish really well, but I haven't been out there yet.
Yes. I'll figure out what it is. I'll put it in the story, which, by the way, this is the Sound Bites podcast from the Daily Memphian. And you can read more and have links to different stories that we've already written about Wiseacre's history, storied past, and, all the things they've been doing lately at dailymemphian.com. Okay, let's talk about more food, though, because you opened in September, is that right? Panuzzo King, which is the sandwich shop on Broad Avenue. And I'm assuming the reason you decided to go ahead and do that there instead of having the food trucks that you'd had rotating in and out for years is the same reasons you just kind of explained. But so why a sandwich shop and why this one? I've tried it. I was very impressed. So let me get that out of the way.
We're looking for something that we could make on Broad where we could build a kitchen, but we wanted to do it in a streamlined way. We didn't want to throw $100,000 at a kitchen build, which is what we did down here. So we were looking at a way to use the equipment that we have down here and to make something delicious. And I think, kind of like with pizza, like what makes really great pizza is always dough, right? Like the toppings are one thing, that makes it good, but like great pizza is all about dough. And we already are making tons of delicious dough, and Panuzzo's, have had
Panuzzo. I'm correcting my pronunciation.
Panuzzo has had kind of a darling moment on the internet over the past couple of years, and they're very, very pretty pictures usually. But we did a lot of experimenting and figured out that we could make Panuzzo shells using our badass oven down here, and then basically take the kind of par cooked shells and then finish cooking them on Broad Avenue with sandwich fillings, and through months of trial and error and crafting, we came up with some pretty delicious sandwiches.
Yeah, Andrew Dacus deserves a lot of credit, who was the sous chef down here for, I guess, the whole time we've been open, really, and wanted to do his own thing, and he has been awesome the whole time he's been here. Just a super hard worker, good communicator, not afraid to let you know if he's frustrated, whatever. So it was,
Hey, that's important for the longevity of working relationships.
For sure. And kitchens they're challenging places to work. And this was like, we had worked at restaurants even more than me, I guess, throughout our lives growing up and all that kind of stuff. But having one here and like talking with the employees, there's a bunch of challenges to it. So anyway, he had proven himself, and then just went through testing. There's obviously a million options for sandwiches and what works and why. And we had our staff try a bunch and talk through it all, and ended up with the menu after months and months of kind of honing in on it.
So I'm going to tell you the menu because there's 6 on here. The Philly's Finest, which is what I had, and I love the Sweetie Drop peppers. I don't really know what they are. I don't understand them, but they're like these little delicious, like semi-sweet, sour
sweet
flavor.
Vinegary.
Yeah, it's really good.
They look like Hershey's Kisses, but they're red.
Yes, and little, and they're just great. Yeah. That was super delicious. For me, you call it this, but it's roasted pork and greens. So it's this great Southern kind of moment. So that was excellent. Also, it's huge. It's like absolutely enormous, which I feel like I don't know. Why are you laughing?
So they're big.
They're just really big. Yeah. No, it was great. I love that. But I want the bang for the buck. You've got a vegan banh mi. You've got the Rick and Morty, which is ricotta mortadella, which someone was like, it's fancy bologna. I'm like, now that I've had it, I'm like, it's more than that, but okay. Super meatballsy. Fancy bologna?
I think fancy bologna is okay. That's what it is.
That's what it is, yeah.
It's fancy bologna. It's got pistachios and big chunks of pork fat in it. It is delicious. Mm-hmm. But I like bologna too. So.
And there's lemon on that one as well. on the Rick and Morty.
I need to get this. I'm looking at
It
this
is really
again.
good.
I'm like, pistachio pesto? This is speaking to me.
It's super good. And the arugula, I think, really is what really makes it.
Yes. You got a meatball one, and then Enzo
De Cassini.
Thank you.
That's Andrew Dacus is the chef there. So
Yes.
we're trying to Italianize his name.
I love it. Okay. You can make all of these hot.
Well, we have the Club La Vila now, too.
Oh, good.
So I don't know, that's new, but newish, a couple weeks. But that's a turkey, avocado, bacon, ranch, everything bagel seasoning, right?
Oh, my. All right.
You remember Club La Vila?
MTV Spring Break?
MTV Spring Break. That's
Phone
what we used
dancing?
to-
We didn't have cable. I don't know what to tell you. We were having regular bologna. No, but okay. So, I see it now. Club La Vila.
Yeah.
You can make all these hot. And so I was like, can I get the hot stuff on the side? And I put a tiny bite, and it was very, very hot. I'm kind of a spice wimp, but this was, so be warned. But I think that's good. That's good because people need to, if people like the hot stuff, they need to know. I have always been really into a sandwich shop, Memphis sandwiches. Frank's Deli downtown. Do you guys remember Frank's Deli?
Yeah.
Rest in peace. And so now I'm picky about it. And I'm like, I don't want to go out and buy a sandwich if it's not going to be something that I can't really recreate. And so I think you've kind of done that here. So what I'm going to ask is your sandwich pick with your beer or drink pairing so we can give the people the good recommendations. You got a lot of good ones on here, so I can see why it's hard to choose and why it took months to figure out what exactly to put on here, because you've really hit all the notes of the different kinds of sandwiches, and I'm getting hungry looking at it.
I am too. It's terrible.
Well, I think it's because you asked the combo, honestly.
Yes,
Because you asked favorite pizza, and I was like, that's
what it
easy.
is.
But then you asked like favorite sandwich and beer, and I was like, all right, now it's complicated.
For sure, that's what counted. That's what did it.
I like that, though. This is important.
I like the I'll do the pork banh mi, and it definitely changes that sandwich because the vegan banh mi is really light, and I think it's good that we have that option because they are huge, as you said earlier. But the pork one is delicious, and it's banh mi's are awesome sandwiches. We've got other great options in Memphis on the banh mi.
Yes.
But hopefully we're exposing more people to it. And, it's just people are trying to pronounce it. But it's such an awesome sandwich. There's, you get crunchy and you get acid.
Texture's very important.
Mm-hmm, you get all the herby. It's, you feel sort of healthy because you're eating like a salad on your,
Yeah, every time I eat a vegetable, I'm like, I'm living forever now. I had this piece of broccoli.
Right,
I'm
you got daikon,
immortal.
And carrots, and
Yes.
whatever. And I'll do that with the Skydog Chelada
Okay.
pairing.
Tell me more about that.
Kind of matchy-matchy, but, kind of the lime. It's a good beer with food because it's acidic and, cut through any lingering. I've added the pork on the banh mi, so you're getting it. It's kind of fatty, and so you're cutting through that a little bit, but maybe meshes with some of the, components of the banh mi.
Love it.
I think I would do the Enzo De Cassini spicy version,
Yes.
and I'd have it with an Anda. I think IPAs and spicy food are kind of like a classic pairing, but I think Ananda's has enough bitterness to be like really quenching. It's super dry, so you get your like salty, spicy bite, and then your dry quenching drink right after that.
You should. Jardinera just has like my neighbor lived in Chicago for a while, and he's just like, you don't see it around. I don't know if it's worth talking about Jardinera.
Please do, because that's the hot stuff I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jardinera is it's like it's in every Chicago sandwich shop, but it's pickled peppers, carrots, cauliflower. Yeah. And
More veggies.
Yeah. More health.
so all those veggies are pickled, so they're like salty sour, and then they're also put into like an oil dressing. So it kind of comes as like it's kind of a condiment, but it's kind of like a salad, and it's kind of it's very spicy. So all that it's Italian too. It goes really well on the Italian sandwich.
Have you watched The Bear?
I have.
What do you think about The Bear?
I like The Bear. You know, I think of all of the television shows that I've ever watched, I think it's the most anxiety-inducing television show that's like ever been made. Which is, I think, is really impressive when you can kind of get people all worked up. You know, when it's like just actors, and you know, it's not even happening to me, but I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, I'm having that experience watching Pluribus. I'm secretly turning this into a TV podcast.
Yeah. Well, what's the movie where the guy free solos?
Free Solo.
That's the name of it?
Yeah.
Perfect.
That movie absolutely scared the shit out of me.
And you know that he lives, but you still...
Yeah, you're like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
It's well made.
It is crazy.
I'm always curious what people who work in the industry think about The Bear. And I mean, I was a server for 7 years or something, so it also stresses me out. But I'm like, well, yeah, some of it's kind of like that. Not all of it. Some of it.
I feel like I worry a lot about just what is happening to fine dining at this point. And, you know, The Bears made me think a lot about that recently as well. Just like, I feel like it's just falling apart. Like, nobody wants to spend money on that. The service is not, just the whole service industry, like, no one is that good anymore. Yeah. It's just, I feel like it's kind of a sad state of affairs in fine dining.
Things are definitely shifting and changing. That's so much what we talk about on this podcast. Everybody that we bring in, it's like, how are you kind of navigating? Thank you. Like, I was going to say, like, pivoting, moving things along, all those horrible business words, but like, that's what you're having to do. But okay, so we talked about the pairings. Let's get back to beer just for a little bit, because y'all recently won some great awards at the Great American Beer Festival. Tell me about that. And how did it feel?
It's been a hell of a year for Wiseacre in brewing. It's always amazing to win to win a medal in a national or international competition. In my opinion, I feel like there's really, those are kind of the only two competitions that I think are super important because you're being judged by your peers. So it's mostly other brewers, but it's also some other beer experts, beer writers.
So this is the Great American Beer Festival that's in Denver, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
World Beer Cup is a lot of the same judges, but there's a heavier contingent of international judges. So people from all over the world. I mean, people from Japan are judging beers with you. I am also a judge at those events as well. Of course, you can never judge your own beer.
Yes.
So it's all done entirely blind. So no one knows what beer they have. It just has a number on a cup.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting to win medals, especially in some of the categories we were in. Like Tiny Bomb won the silver medal this past year, which it won a bronze in 2014 at GABF. But there were 190 other beers in the category, which is completely insane to me. And having been a judge on other beers like that, it's wild to come out on top because you have to go through so many rounds of judging. But it really says a lot about, I would say mostly about the people that work here. The production team here cares so much about what they're doing. And people don't talk enough about the fact that beer is incredibly easy to not do well. There's a million ways to screw up a batch of beer. And to make something that's, a gold medal winner or a silver medal or really any medal at any of those festivals or any of those competitions it has to be so dialed in and so perfect. And it really means that everyone that takes care of the beer here is really paying a lot of attention, and they're very interested in the quality of what we're producing.
Yeah, and I guess over the past 12 months, if you backed up to October, we won the gold for Skydog Lager and American Light Lager, which means we beat like Bud, Miller, Coors like in their own category, which is really insane. And then in the spring, Oktoberfest won a bronze medal at the World Beer Cup. So that's where David's saying there's international judges. And again, we're beating Germans who have spent centuries perfecting styles. They don't do a lot of variety. In Europe, one brewery might make one beer, and they just are incredible at it. So that was a huge achievement. Then this past fall was Tiny Bomb won the silver, Skydog Amber won a gold.
Yes.
In its first year in the International Amber Lager. So huge year.
And the first time we ever made Skydog Amber.
Right. But it'd been
You're like, here it is. It's brand new. What do y'all think? And they loved it.
It had been a decade since we won a medal.
Yeah.
And then 4 in a 12-month period.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Thanks for representing Memphis and Tennessee, really. So a couple years ago, we were at the Great American Beer Festival at the same time. I was there with Memphis Tourism. They had a weird tourism display area where they had different cities and destinations set up next to all these beer booths. And I think you guys were there. Maybe you were the only Memphis brewery there that year. Maybe there was one other one. It's a huge event in the Denver Convention Center. I mean, it's extensive. They also had a bunch of dudes playing the bagpipes. There was an opening ceremony. I was like, what is this? What is happening? But I remember it was kind of a challenging day. It was very fun. We had an Elvis impersonator or tribute model, whatever they want to call it, at our booth. That was weird, but it was kind of a challenging day because a lot of people that came up, and I don't know where they're from. I guess they were from mostly Colorado, but potentially all over. Right. They really didn't have a lot of nice stuff to say about Memphis. And we were getting kind of bummed, and I was like, okay, let's take a lap. Let's try some samples, and then we'll come back and start over. But I remember Dave and I I'm pretty sure I ran into you, and you were having the same experience. I feel like, I don't know, do you remember that? Because I remember we were redacted, but we were like, what's up with these people? This is not very nice. We're at a beer festival. Just relax a little bit.
Yeah,
it's weird to represent Memphis sometimes.
It is, and I think people just get weird ideas about Memphis, and I feel like we.
That's par for the course. People do that all over, and we, on the sales side, we sell beer in 22 states, and you go into a bar or a restaurant, and it's the same stuff. But I like to fight with people. It's kind of fun. But as soon as someone says that, they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. Come see us. And there's certainly people that love it. But what I feel like I tell people a lot is, for one, Memphis, we're a river town. We're a lot more like New Orleans and St. Louis than we are Nashville. We get compared to that. And then even, Tennessee is a long state and super different parts of the state. And we're our own thing. And you should enjoy it for what it is. It's an old school place. People talk and act a certain way. And there's, that's what makes it unique. There's places here, Ernestine and Hazel's and Alex's and Wild Bill's. And you couldn't recreate this place. No. And when I have people that come to visit from around the country and I get to be their tour guide, they love Memphis. But it's the people who don't get to experience it, that just have judgment, I mean, we were in Nashville for a meeting recently, and somebody from another brewery who will remain unnamed was like, Bob, I might come down, but I don't want to get shot or whatever. And we're like, shut your mouth, man.
So tiring.
Go home. It's so ridiculous. It is a challenge for the city. And I think people are working on the conversation around, perception versus reality, whatever. But it's something we all deal with as Memphians.
So where do you take them when you take them on the tours?
Wild Bill's.
Wild Bill's. I have seen some wild stuff from Wild Bill's. They're like, free wine till whatever time. I'm like, what's the catch, man?
Recently?
Very recently.
Things have changed.
Yes.
But
it's like Club Wiseacre in there.
Over the course of time, it's been a special place. But yeah, I mean, Ernestine Hazel's definitely on the list, but I don't know. I mean, there's any number of restaurants. Of course, we're going to take people here. Our Colorado, distributor has an incentive every year where they, people can win a trip to come to Memphis if they sell X amount of beer, whatever, that kind of thing. And
I love that. That's amazing.
They freaking love it. I mean, so we had 3 guys in from Denver this past fall.
They really go for it too when they're here.
They do. They got an Airbnb.
I was going to say, where do they stay?
They got an Airbnb close to Overton Square. And it's so funny because people in Memphis, we don't like to walk places. I remember when I moved back here, I walked to Target in East Memphis because I was living close by at the time. And 2 people saw me walking and they're like, "Are you okay? You need a ride?" I was like, "No, it's like a pretty day and I'm walking." And they're like, "Okay, but everything's fine." I'm like, "Yes, I'm choosing to walk." But they
haven't gone crazy.
The Denver folks like walked to from the square to Young Avenue Deli, and then they walked back and they made the little bar crawl out of it. And but
that's a much better walk than it used to be.
Yeah, but they were like, this was awesome. They loved it, and they. So they hit up, a couple places along the way. They went to Memphis Whistle. They went to Celtic. They went to the Deli. They went to Slider. I met up with them at Bayou watching the Grizzlies and Nuggets were actually playing that night. And so the other night we went to the Grizz game. Can't think who they were playing. And then they were down here. We had the Neil Young the Memphis Harvest Band played. And,
yes.
They spent, a night on South Main and kind of whatever, just walked, enjoyed the town.
That's great. That's good. I'm glad they have a good ambassador who's into it. Thank you so much for those recommendations, David and Kellan, and for this whole conversation. We appreciate you having us here at the Wiseacre HQ downtown today. That is all the time we have, though. If you're listening right now on WYXR, where we share sound bites every Thursday at 11 a.m., make sure you also check out the Sound Bites podcast feed on Apple or Spotify, because we do have an extended version of this conversation. And that's actually something we typically do with most of our episodes. So subscribe on those places or wherever you get your podcasts, and you won't miss the extra chats and conversations. We also have some things that we talked about off air with this conversation with the Wiseacre guys, such as their appearance on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And I'm going to talk more about that in the Soundbite story at dailymemphian.com. So go there and check that out too. But really, that is all the time we have. Cheers and happy holidays.